بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين. We greet our listening audience with the greeting of peace. Assalamu alaikum and Ramadan Mubarak. So let's see. Today we're looking at Surah 41, verse 44. Surah 41, verse 44. And what I'm going to do today, I may not take as long. I may not take the full hour because I want to divide this surah up into two parts because I want to say something about both parts. This verse. So we'll do the verse in two parts. We'll do part one today, and then we will do part two tomorrow. And then after tomorrow, I won't be back here in the morning until Tuesday. Maybe Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. We will see. I will be in Minnesota for the weekend. They have a Ramadan session in Minnesota, and I will be attending the Ramadan session there, presenting there for them. So let's go over the verse, and then we will just do part 1 and 2 today. Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, I may do something just short. I'm not sure. So we'll see. I will be presenting in Minnesota about the Night of Power. And I don't know if they're going to have that on Facebook or not, or recorded or not. If they do not have it, then I will present it Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. What I present in Minnesota. If you do not get it, if you do not receive it. So the students will let me know. So we begin. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Walau ja'alnahu Qur'anan A'jamiyan. And if hypothetically speaking, we made it a Quran, a reading, A'jamiyan. And A'jamiyan is a word we would say that's foreign. It's foreign, in a foreign language. A'jamiyan, a foreign language. Qur'anan A'jamiyan, a foreign reading with a foreign language. لَقَالُوا, then surely this la is going back, it's responding to the if. If, then qalu, they would have said, Lawla fusilat. Why is not fusilat? Why is not detailed? Clear and detailed. Ayatuhu, its signs, its verses. Why is its verses not explained clearly? And now we're going to ask the question here. And the way this is written is like A'jamiyun. You have the Hamza of Istifham is asking a question. And then you had the Hamza here that's from the word Ajami. The word is Ajami. I'll show you that because it's going to be discussed in the tafsir and the commentary. So they're asking Ajamiyun. This is what they would have said. Is it foreign? Well, Arabiyun. So the question becomes, is it foreign and Arabic? Or is it a foreign language and Arabiyun, and he is Arabic. And he is Arabic, meaning Muhammad the Prophet. We read either way. Is it foreign and Arabic, meaning that there are foreign words in the Qur'an along with the Arabic words? Or is it in a foreign tongue, the Qur'an, yet the one that is revealed to is Arab? Qul, say, Huwa lilladhina amanu. It is for those who have accepted faith. Amanu. Hudan wa shifa'un. It is a guidance and a healing for those who have accepted faith. وَالَّذِينَ لَا يُؤْمِنُونَ, and those who do not believe, فِي أَذَانِهِمْ, in their ears, وَقْرٌ, is a heaviness. There's a heaviness in the ear that causes them to be deaf. وَهُوَ عَلَيْهِمْ, and it is upon them. I'm doing this literal so you can see the words. Amen. Blindness. Ulaika yunadawna. Those or they yunadawna are being called. They're being called. So here you have the word call, the idea of call, and here you have the idea of ears, where they could hear. Yunadawna, so this one word would be to sign the other in context. Though yesterday we were talking about yunadawna, it's that you're being called, but you're not being called from hearing, like you're hearing sound. So, even though we read the Quran with the first idea we have, someone is speaking to you, you have to read it first, literally first. Read it literally first, then go back, and then you have to look at it in terms of its metaphor. How the Quran written as a metaphor in order to get another reading. So they are being called, يُنَادَوْنَ مِنْ مَكَانٍ بَعِيدٍ, from a far place. From a far place. That's giving the idea that they can't hear. They can't hear and they can't see. They can't hear you, your voice. They can't see you. It is as though they are being called from a far, far place. You're out of sight. The caller is out of sight and they can't hear, but they're being called. Okay, let's see what it says in the tafsir here. He says, وَلَوْ جَعَلْنَاهُ, and if we made it, that is to say, as dhikra, the remembrance. So the Qur'an, he's referring to as the remembrance. And this is the pronoun he. Who? The pronoun who is the remembrance. And I believe we have discussed this month the idea of we talked about the genetic memory. How in our genetic memory we have our past life that even goes back to Abraham. That's in our genetic memory. And we spoke about how there are things that's in our memory from our time in Africa. That's in the genetic memory. Well, if that's true, then we should have a genetic memory that goes all the way back to Adam. And our DNA, if our DNA can go back, it can be read to go back to the days we were in Africa, and even to the tribe, because of let's say these strands of whatever existed in this part of the world in Africa, that they would narrow it down to a tribe. Then why can't, then our DNA, perhaps you can read it, should go all the way back to Adam. Everyone's DNA should go back to Adam. And in that DNA, should be the Quran. Because it should be a part of our genetic makeup called az-zikra. Az-zikra. That's why the Quran itself is called zikra, a reminder. A reminder. Meaning it's there, it's already in us. And has been placed there before, perhaps in the night of power. And now we have to be reminded. So when we hear the Quran, something in our DNA, in our genetic makeup, should trigger in us something from our memory. So it's called a dhikra. And it's a reading. Quran is a reading. Like we read the DNA. We read it. Ajamiyan, so it says a foreign reading, like qalu lawla. Now we'll talk about this idea of a foreign reading. So they say, why not? Hell, hell, asking a question, and lad, is not, or why not? Is not or why not? Fusilat, we said, it explains clear in detail. Meaning, he said he's going to define Fusilat as Buyinat. Buyinat is to be clear, to make clear. Why is it not clear? Buyinat, clear. Ayatuhu, it's verses. It's verses. He's saying, he's explaining, Hatta nafhamuha, until we understand it. That we understand it. Why? If it was, if the language of the Quran is a foreign language, then the Arab will say, why is this Arab speaking in a language that we don't understand? Then he says, so this Hamza here, this is called the Hamza. The Hamza here is the Hamza that's asking the question. He said, Qur'anun, is it a Qur'an? Adamiyun, foreign, what? Nabiyun, and a prophet. So is it a Qur'an that's foreign? And a prophet, Nabiyun, Arabiyun. That's Arabic. This would be the question. Here, Muhammad the Prophet is an Arab. He's an Arab speaking a foreign language. Why is he speaking a foreign language to us? Why would someone come to you speaking a foreign language that you don't understand? And he's supposed to be bringing a message from Allah. This would be their questioning. Or they are saying that the words, all of the words in the Quran, the Quraysh, which we're going to talk about, they don't know all of the words. Because some of the words, their origin is from the language of the people that had come to Mecca. Perhaps they have stayed around Mecca. Mecca was along the trade route. So there's the Hebrew. You have Hebrew words, language. You have the Ethiopian language. You have I can't think of it. Well, we're going to go over it. But the different people there words from their languages that's in the Quran that originates from their language, or scholars have discussed that perhaps these words were originally Arabic words. They were originally Arabic, and they had influenced the tongue of other people, and it comes back Arabic in the Quran. So the question is, these all of the words and expressions in the Quran, the Arabs did not understand. The Quraysh did not understand. For example, when we say Alhamdulillah, we say Alhamdulillah. The Arabs did not understand the expression Alhamdulillah. They knew Alhamdu, they knew Lillah. They knew Allah, they knew Alhamdu. But when you say Alhamdulillah, that expression they don't understand that expression as being an expression of gratitude, because they had not heard that expression before. That's why in the Quran, Muhammad, he's a teacher. He's the teacher, purify and teach them the book. Because a lot of the expressions in the Quran, they previously did not have in their language. Even tayammum. Tayammum is a word. Perhaps they knew the word tayammum, but they didn't understand the expression and application of the word tayammum. Tayammum is when you do not find water and you want to make wudu, or you want to take the bath, ghusl. So one day the Prophet sees, President peace be upon him, he sees a man rolling around in the sand. Tayammum is take earth, take pure earth, clean earth, and you make tayammum with your hands, and you put it on your hands and your face. This is tayammum. So using clear sand instead of water. So the man is rolling around in the sand. And Muhammad the Prophet asked him, what are you doing? He says, I'm making tayammum. Because he didn't understand. He's trying to get sand over his whole body. Like taking a bath. Because he did not understand the expression of tayammum. There are many instances like this that show that the Arab did not understand. They didn't understand the language. So they're asking this question now, is it foreign and Arabic? Because some things we understand, some things we don't understand. And some of the words is understood, some of the words are not understood. That's why in some of the translations, it's difficult to translate because they don't understand the words. We will discuss this more. So if this hamu inkarin, meaning that it's a question of denial, meaning from them, a question of denial, meaning that it is not foreign and Arabic in the idea of denial, meaning that they don't want to accept it. Bi-tahqiqi, and this is just dealing with the grammar, bi-tahqiqi al-hamzati athaniyati, meaning by realizing the hamza. He's explaining up here that I was showing you, by realizing the second hamza and changing it as an alif. By filling it, by filling out the sound or not filling it out. So what he's saying here, just in the, here he's saying, he's speaking about the alif here. Here you have ajamiyan. So this ajamiyan, you have this hamza is part of the word, ajamiyan. So over here you have the alif that asks the question here. This is the alif that asks the question. So he said, ajamiyun. So it could be read and then you read it twice. Ajamiyun, or you will read it ajamiyun with the alif. Because there's an alif, you don't make it long because of the sukoon here. So you would say ajamiyun, but it's asking a question. Ajamiyun or ajamiyun. And you would know this by the tone of the voice when it's being revealed. Because we have to remember the Qur'an is oral. It's oral first, and then it's written down. It's not written first and then read. It comes or. So orally you may say ajamiyun. That lets you know you're asking a question. Or if you read it ajamiyun, you read it twice. So he said either way, with the aleph or not. So this is the first part we're going to discuss today, this half. And then tomorrow we'll discuss the other half. Kullu wa lilladina amanu hudan. And it is for those who have accepted faith as guidance. It is guidance for them. Min ad-dalalati, from error. From straying. Wa shifa'un, and a healing, min al-jahli, from ignorance. A healing from ignorance, from not knowing. This is the healing, the hunger. We hunger. We're in a time now that we experiencing hunger. And the hunger that we're experiencing is a sign. See, when we perform rituals, fasting is a ritual. And yes, on the first level of the ritual, we experiencing the hunger of those who are the unfortunate ones who may not have the opportunity to eat every day. Yes, from that level. But it's also a ritual that points to a higher reality. And the higher reality is that we hunger for knowing the truth that will bring us back to our original nature, because something has happened to us that has taken us out of our original nature. And we hunger, and there's pains that we're expressing to want to know our original selves. How do we get back to our original selves before speaking to this audience directly? Before we were brought here from Africa as slaves, and before the domination of the European upon us, then now that we're in the state we're in now, we have this, what we call freedom. How do we get back to our original selves? Because the way we act and the way we behave is not the behavior of a human being. So we hunger. We display pains of hunger in our social life, trying to find answers to our abnormal behavior. It's called jahl. Jahl is meaning we don't know. We're ignorant about what it is to be a human being. So the Qur'an comes as a healing. It's a healing for anyone who hungers, who have a hunger in them to want to return to the original human constitution that they are created in. But we will discuss this tomorrow. There's two things to talk about here in this verse, and tying the verses together, but I know it would take more than an hour to do both of them, and I don't want to hold you that long. وَالَّذِينَ لَا يُؤْمِنُونَ فِي آذَانِهِمْ وَقْرٌ, and those who do not accept the faith, they don't believe. They don't believe in Allah, and they don't believe in this Qur'an. That has affected our nature. Then we have Muslims that don't even believe in this Qur'an. In what we're talking about, Arabian, in the Qur'an, Arabian, or Ajamiyya. Is the Qur'an, is it Arabic and English? So they don't believe. So in their ears is heaviness, is a deafness. You know, when you can't hear, when you're deaf in the ear, your ear feels like it's heavy. It feels like there's something heavy in it. Yes, because I'm deaf in one ear. And I had an operation. When I come out the operation, it was very easy for me to feel the heaviness, because the sound, it strikes the earlobe, because the thing that's called the ear is what collects the sound. So it works, but the sound doesn't register, because there has been, within operation, something has been clipped. They had to clip it and take the hearing away. So the sound can strike it, but the sound cannot register. It doesn't register inside of me. Only on one side. I can only hear out of one ear. So when you speak to me, and you're speaking to me on the deaf side, it doesn't register. But when I first come out the operation, I could feel clearly the heaviness, because it's striking, but it's not doing anything. It's a waqru. See, this is science, but we won't understand, we don't experience it unless we are, in the literal sense, unless we're deaf. Then you know sound is striking you. The doctor was telling me that there's a bone. There's a bone that's still there. He said sometimes you may think you are hearing from that ear because the vibration. The ear is still collecting the sound, and the vibration is on a bone, but you can't discern what the sound is. But he says, but you're really not hearing it. You're not hearing it. You may be feeling it, but not hearing it. Very interesting. Something to study. I haven't done much research on it, but I know the feeling I had when I came out of the operation. Waqru. So here it is in the Quran. Waqru. Zikrun is saying a heaviness. Zikrun is defined in waqru, a heaviness. But if you have the curiosity with these words, you will look up both words and get a good Arabic dictionary, like a Lisan Arab. And then you can do the research on these words, zikrun and waqrun, that you can see the difference. The difference in the difference zikrun and waqrun. They have different meanings because they're different words, but they have similar meanings in them. This will give a clearer reading and understanding of the words. And then you may get a good Arabic. A lot of this is in Arabic because you're dealing with Arabic language. So this is why we want to learn the Arabic language and then with the Qur'anic Arabic. We're interested in Qur'anic Arabic, not spoken Arabic. Qur'anic Arabic. Even spoken Arabic would be considered Ajamiyya. Today, the Arabic that's spoken on the street, that you hear people speaking, is Ajamiyya. It's not Arabiyya. It's not Qur'an and Arabiyya. It's Qur'an, it's Ajamiyya. Though it's Arabic language, it's formed through Qur'anic Arabic. So anyway, we get sources. It's good to get sources that will help with the Qur'anic Arabic, especially a source you can get that identifies words that use as metaphors or figurative speech, because the Quran is full of it. a lot of the words are full of, they're used as metaphors, they're not used in the literal sense of the word. But to understand the metaphor, you have to have the first picture, the literal picture first, to understand the metaphor. But the way it's used as a metaphor, meaning you don't take it literally. This is the reading of the Qur'an. So dhikrun wa la yasma'una, meaning that they cannot hear. The heavens they cannot hear. Wa huwa alayhim amin. Amin fala yafhamunahu. Thus they do not understand. They do not understand it when we're talking about being blind. So the hearing is associated with seeing in terms of understanding, meaning that it's not the blindness, as you see, it's not physically blind. The blindness would have to be in the heart. The blindness is a spiritual blindness because they cannot hear the words. And what they can't hear is when the Qur'an is being read, they cannot hear it. And because they can't hear it, it does not give them, the Qur'an does not give them pictures, or it does not give them what we would call, in the philosophical sense, it doesn't give them perception. So isn't it interesting that the Muslim world with the common man teaches us to recite the beautiful rhythmic sounds of the Qur'an, but you can't hear. Like I'm saying, the noise is falling on your ear, on that earpiece. You hear the noise, but you can't discern what the noise is. What's that noise? What is it saying? What does it mean? It's no different than hearing noise just in the atmosphere. You hear the noise of a car, you hear the noise of the birds, you hear noise in your environment, but you can't discern what it means. It gives you no perception. To the point, it's as though you're being called. You're being called by Allah. We talked about it yesterday, right? You're being called, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu. Oh, you will accept the faith, but the call is so distant, that it's so distant you can't hear the sound, nor can you see the one calling. That's how bad it is to just recite Qur'an and being called by Allah, and you're reciting it, but you can't comprehend the meaning of the sounds. It's the same as if someone was calling you and you didn't hear or see the one calling. Who did this? And then say you're a scholar. Define you as some kind of scholar or greatness, because you can utter some sounds, but you can't discern the meaning out of those sounds. And call you a hafiz, meaning that you are one who has preserved the Qur'an. That's not a true preserving of the Qur'an. Yes. So let us think. Let's take a look. What happened? Do you think, by the stretch of your imagination, that these, what we're calling Muslim countries, the Muslim people, were colonized? Do you think it's the influence of colonization? If we have been under the influence of slavery, and we come to read the Quran before slavery, we can read with comprehension. But after slavery, we can't read with comprehension. We're relying upon genetic memory to strike us, to just arouse in us the curiosity of what is that sound. So do you think colonization has something to do with it? Do you think, just out of curiosity, that the people, the colonizers, picked the Qur'an and they, from the people that they were fighting against, picked the Qur'an up and they learned how to read it. And they have benefit from it. And they know what's in it. And they take the people that they're dominating. That's what is happening. They're dominating them. They allow them still to have the Qur'an in their presence and give it to them in a way that when they read it, they don't get anything from it. Yes. In the universities, the way the Arabic is taught, it has to be taught with a method that you can learn Arabic to go into an Arab country or what have you, and speak and converse with the people. But when you pick the Qur'an up, it won't grab you because it's not Quranic Arabic. If you learn how to read the Qur'an from Quranic Arabic, it will grab you. You have to stop and pause and reflect. It will grab your attention. It will grab your mind. The Qur'an will convert you itself. And that's what happened. The first time the Europeans went into the Muslim countries, especially Egypt, they had to learn Arabic in order to administrate, take over the administration, dominate them. They had to learn Arabic in order to talk to the people, so people could understand them. So they were taught Arabic the right way first, and then taught Arabic the correct way. The Qur'an converted all of them. The Qur'an itself, they picked the Qur'an up, and it converted them. So now we have a problem. If we go into these Muslim countries and take over the administration, like Syria, Iraq, Libya, then we have to learn Arabic in order to talk to the people, for the people to understand us. Now, it could be easier to conquer the people if we make everybody learn English. We'll make English the language of communication, then it'll be easier to conquer them because we will be able to communicate to them. But in the process of learning Arabic, the students pick Qur'an up and the Qur'an converts them. So now we have to think of a method. How can we teach you to learn Arabic that when you pick up the Qur'an won't grab you? You won't have that, as we say, that aha moment. You won't have that curiosity. Don't you know that Muslims today, they do not want their children to learn Quranic Arabic in terms of comprehension because they do not want the Qur'an grabbing them. They're afraid the Qur'an may grab their mind. It may grab that curiosity, and they'll spend more time in the Qur'an than they will in their engineering homework, in their medical homework. They're preparing to be medical students. They're preparing to be engineer students. So we don't want that because we know the effects the Qur'an will have on their mind, and they may take a strong curiosity to try to want to understand and reflect upon what Allah is saying from the Qur'an. That's a condition that we have right now. But I'm talking to we, us African Americans, we don't know this and we follow them. And we shouldn't be following them. No. As I said the other day, maybe it was yesterday, we are not migrants. We're not Muslim migrants. We're not Muslim immigrants. We're indigenous. Indigenous Muslim Americans. And the way we come into Islam and the way we come into Quran, we should hold on to that. And we have this curiosity. And the Quran is being gradually, it's being revealed to us. Because we're not carrying former baggage of the language, and as the more and more we begin to study it, the more and more it becomes revealing, Allah will begin to teach us. Yes, in the beginning, we depend upon a teacher. You depend upon a teacher, but after a while, you start reading with your own natural curiosity without having former baggage, without carrying former baggage. So that way, you don't take it for granted. You don't take anything for granted. And you begin to read, and then the Quran begins to unfold like a scroll. And then Allah Himself will begin to teach us from the Quran. Yes. The topic that they gave me to speak in Minnesota is a living Quran. A living Quran. It's like a living organism. The Quran is itself. And it'll begin to reveal. And I believe if we be sincere in our faith and believe in it, believe in every word, do not doubt anything in the Quran. I'm speaking from the original text. That gradually, the Quran will begin to reveal itself, and we begin to see things that man has not yet seen coming from the Quran. So in this part here, it says, "Ulaika yunadawna min makanin ba'id." That is to say, they are like one who is being called al-munada, one who is being called min makanin ba'id from a far distant place. La yasma'u, they do not hear. He does not hear. Wala yafhamu, and he does not understand. Ma yunada bihi, what he is being called to, or what he's being called by it. Yes. I want to take the time to say some things because it's very important for us. So in the outline here, we have foreign and Arabic. Arabic means clear speech. The Quran is unmatched in clarity and eloquence. No language can match the Quran in clarity and eloquence. Foreign or borrowed words in the Quran we talked about. And then we have the Arabic Quran is inimitable. It cannot be imitated. And the second part tomorrow, we will talk about the physical and spiritual diseases. Physical food and mental food are healing sources. Dominance can cause savagery in nature. And Islam is the most visible religion, not the most dominant religion. And the Quran offers guidance and healing. So this we will look at tomorrow, and this probably we'll finish up for today. So in this verse, the Quran is using the words meaning foreign and Arabic. Ajamiyun, meaning foreign, and Arabic. So it's suggesting to us Arabic is not foreign. That Arabic, as many would say, is our natural language. It's the natural language. All the languages belong to Allah. All the colors belong to Allah. So even though we divide ourselves as people based upon language and color, all the color belongs to Allah and all the languages belong to Allah. So now, Quranic Arabic is the Arabic of our natural constitution, and other languages will be foreign to that. That in order for us to understand or read Revelation should be read from the Arabic language. And just to have conversation with each other, perhaps English or something else could be used for conversation. These words may not be pointing to the person as much as it is pointing to the tongue of the person. When we say, is he Arabic? Because to be an Arab is one whose tongue is Arab. An Arab is not identified by color or feature or physical feature. The Arab is identified by his tongue or her tongue. Muhammad the Prophet has said that the one whose tongue is Arabic is an Arab. That's one of the definitions of an Arab. Therefore, not only are the people that live on the Arabian Peninsula called Arab, but today we find the Egyptian, the North African, like the Sudanese, or whoever, the Lebanese, the Syrian, the Iraqi. They're Iraqis today. There's a group of Iraqis here that call themselves Arab, and there's a group of Iraqis that call themselves Chaldeans. And the way you can, I guess, generally know the difference, because they're mixed in their families, just like we're mixed. We have some African Americans that are Christian, and some African Americans that are Muslim. But you will find that the one who says he's an Arab is a Muslim, and the one who says he's a Chaldean is a Christian. They did not adopt the Arabic language in the sense. They speak Arabic. They speak a form of Arabic, but they still define themselves as Chaldeans. They don't want to give themselves the same identity as the one who calls himself Arab, but they're the same people. They're Iraqis, the same Iraqi people. So we have Muslims who may gradually adopt an identity for themselves like Baladians. And then you would have the Christians that will still keep the identity of black. And but we'll be the same people. But one are black and the other one is Baladian. So whoever has adopted the Arabic language as their spoken language, today they're called Arab. Because at one time, that was the thing. Everybody wanted to be an Arab. Because when the Qur'an, when we come to Islam, and we start out by learning Qur'an, because we want to read the Qur'an in Arabic. And as we read the Qur'an in Arabic, we start having Arabic expressions. As you can see, some of the Muslims, they have Arabic expressions. They mix in the Arabic expression with their street expression. And some people, they're on the street, they're talking on the street, every other word is a cuss word. An English four-letter word, and then at the end they'll say, inshallah. So they're mixing Arabic expression, akhi, cut you out, akhi, and then say, inshallah. So they're putting Arabic expressions, mixing in with their street English expressions. After a while, as it becomes more popular for the Muslim, the African American, to learn Arabic, the more his expressions in Arabic begin to grow until we're speaking a kind of Arabic language because of our attraction to Quranic Arabic. So I hope you understand how I'm explaining this. Because the thing is to speak Arabic and to speak clear Arabic like the desert Arab. The desert Arab, the Bedouin, speak the perfect Arabic before Quran comes. They're speaking clear Arabic. So everyone wants to be able to speak clear Arabic, and thus have that tongue of the Arab, and thus be called an Arab, because that was the thing to be called in the day, an Arab. Now everybody wants to be called a white man. So you see African Americans wearing blonde wigs because they want to be called a white man. Yes, that's in their messed up psychic. So the other definition we have is the desert Arab, the Bedouin. He speaks perfect Arabic, and thus he's called the true Arab. So you have these two definitions of the Arab. Now you have Sudanese. Sudanese, they're black Africans. As black as you can get. That's why they're called Sudan. Sud comes from the word Sud. We have it in English called Sut. The black Sut from the cold. So they're so black they was called Sud. And we add the Al-Noon on it that we discussed, like Man, Ramadan, so we call them Sudan, meaning they're black. You're emphasizing, you're augmenting the idea of how black they are. So this is the Sudanese. And a group of the Sudanese who accepted Islam, and they have adopted over time the Arabic language as their language. They speak Arabic. Therefore, they call themselves Arabs. But they're blacker than cold. And then they're fighting against their own people who did not accept Islam, and perhaps they're Christian or whatever. So it appears like the Arabs, which in our mind, because of our racist background, we think when they say the Arabs are fighting the Sudanese, we think it's the light-skinned Arabs dominating the dark-skinned Sudanese. That's why when they say the Arabs enslaved the Africans, because they don't know it's the same people. It's the same people fighting each other. Same black people. It's not Europeans fighting them. It's the black people. Black people fighting black people. But one calls themselves Arabs and the other calls themselves Christian or Sudanese or what have you. And that's a problem for us, because with our racist mind, we think racism. It's not racism like we think of racism. The Arabs of the desert were always known as the people who spoke with great clarity and eloquence. The world has already identified them before Qur'an comes. They could not be matched throughout the world when it came to clear expressions, thereby being called that which means clear expression. They were called Arabs. And the Arabs didn't name themselves Arabs. See, generally, people don't name themselves. The name that usually stick is the name that someone outside of you named you. Not the name that you give yourself. So based upon them having clear expression, unmatched, they were called Arab. They could not have named themselves Arab because they're not unified. They cannot unify themselves that they would agree upon an identity of all of them, of all the tribes. They were very tribal, like we are today. We can't organize ourselves in a unified way to give ourselves a name. The African American can't name themselves. Some say African American, some say black, Negro, all kinds of names. That we can't agree upon a noble expression that we can give ourselves as a people. So someone outside of us has to name us. And we're taking something from outside of us. Black, Negro, Essence, Ebony, these all of them mean black. Nubian, all of it's black. Just in different, black in different languages. And then when you look at the African Americans, today on this soil, we're not all black. Black is not the dominant color. We all get to just look at the crowd. Next time you go to a festival, just look at the crowd of African Americans, and black is not dominant. Then go to Sudan. Go to Ghana. And you'll see the black is dominant. So they call them black. Muslim. Good eye. So they could not unify themselves in order that they would all agree upon a unified name. So they were called Arab. I'm making a point here, stressing the point here, called Arab because they could speak, the people found them very eloquent. So when the Qur'an is revealed, it puts even the desert Arab to shame in terms of its clarity and eloquence. That's the point I want to make. The Qur'an puts them to shame and challenges them that if you are so eloquent in your speech and you carry the name Arab, then match the Qur'an with one verse if you can. Say it better. Say it more eloquent if you can. And today, it still hasn't been matched. By them or any other language in the world cannot match the eloquence of Qur'an. Thereby, Allah calling it a Qur'anic Arabic, an Arabic Qur'an, or Qur'anic Arabic, which is the most clear, eloquent expression that's known of. It has taken the name itself as an Arab. The Qur'an is an Arab in terms of eloquent expression. The discussion now becomes the words in the Qur'an that were not readily recognized by the Arab Bedouin or by the Quraysh in particular, but could be found or originated by the tongue of people other than the Arab. This has prompted the difference between the linguistic scholars as to whether the language of the Qur'an includes foreign or borrowed words, while at the same time being an Arabic Qur'an, because Allah says in the Qur'an that it's an Arabic Qur'an. Words such as the proper names like Ibrahim, Noah, we say Nur for Noah, Imran, etc., are borrowed words from other people and perhaps can be found in other scriptures. That's not Arabic language, like in Hebrew or Aramaic. And that the Quran is not a new revelation separate from what was revealed before because of the words that's from the other scriptures. Also, there are words such as Sijil. We have the word Sijil that is said to be Persian. Sijil. Gafsa derived from Turkish. And Tur derived from Syria. And Tiflun derived from Abyssinia. These are all people who have traveled in and out and through Mecca or have resided in Mecca. That many of the people in Mecca are, we could say, immigrants from other places, and these languages are there also. As the people settle, they come with their language, and this language become infused in the Arabic language. So these are examples of languages where these words are foreign or borrowed that appears in the Quran, meaning that the Quran is not purely Arabic. That in the desert, the desert Arab, because people don't go out and hang out with the desert, with the Bedouin. He's moving around. So you usually, as foreign people come, they usually meet foreign people on the coastline, where they come and trade from ships and things. They're on some type of coastline, or you find along the trade route like Mecca was, and then you'll find people selling there with their languages, what have you, and then they have an influence upon the people. But people don't go out and hang out in the desert. You're not a foreigner that goes in the desert, and therefore the foreign languages did not have an influence upon the desert Arab. So the desert Arab still speaks a natural language, a natural Arabic language that's not influenced by other people. But there are words, that's why I'm saying there are words now in the Quran that even the desert Arab doesn't know. There are expressions in the Quran the desert Arab does not understand the expressions. So saying all of this, that's why even now some scholars are saying that is why we have in the Quran different words for paradise. Like Jannah, we use Jannah and we have Firdaus. Because one of them could be an Arabic expression and one of them could be a borrowed word from another language, meaning paradise. It is held that unlike their Bedouin brothers, the Meccan Arab or city dwellers that lived along the trade route allowed different races, cultures, and people to meet one another, as we have said. Thus, it was only natural that they borrowed each other's words, incorporating them in their language. Perhaps the words that we are reading in the Quran have already been naturalized into the Arabic language before the revelation of the Quran, thus appearing in the Quran. That's one of the explanations. The Quran being consistent within itself does not make it less Arabic when the words considered foreign have entered it. The words now become part of the worldview of the Quran, which is inimitable writing held within itself. So what I'm saying is that when the words enter to the Quran from the social language, we can say, because the people have to understand what's being said, and they have to be taught what's being said by the prophet. So when you take these words from the social environment, in terms of language, it comes into the Quran, it comes into its own social worldview called Quran. And then these words that may have originally been Arabic and come back, that influence another language and comes back in the Quran, or the words that are taken from the social language of those people that were in and around Mecca, it becomes Arabicized by the Quran itself. Then, with saying that, the Quran, as it becomes integrated in the Quran, it all becomes a vocabulary of a pure, clear, and eloquent expression that it can be imitated by no other language or translation in terms of its clarity. Thereby saying it's an Arabic Quran. Thus, meaning that the Quran is a book that's not imitating something else that was written, nor can it be imitated. It's the beginning and end of its own reading. We can read where it is said. Yes, so that's the point we're making today. This Quran, in essence, I say in conclusion, it renders itself as guidance and a healing for all of mankind, in its language, which we're going to discuss tomorrow in terms of it being a guidance and a healing. So we'll stop here and we'll pick this up tomorrow, part 2 tomorrow. Alhamdulillah and Rabbil Alameen. We thank you for joining us today, and peace be upon you. Assalamu alaikum and Ramadan Mubarak.